Oh yes, Black Panther. Where the hell do we start with this one? I want to start off by saying I actually enjoyed this movie. I understand why people love it. There's so many aspects they nailed, from the casting choices to the detailed costumes. The music was fantastic, and the overall vibe of the movie was a complete success in my book. But the amount of people who ignore how lazily written this movie is completely insane to me. The fact that it's praised as one of the greatest superhero movies of all time when it's not even close. The way it was marketed as this revolutionary film for having a black superhero, when Blade was fucking up vampires way back in 1998. It's extremely overrated, and the most frustrating thing about this movie is that it could have been great, but there's 3 fatal flaws that ruin this movie, and I want to address them in order from least damaging to most damaging, so let's go through them. Number 1. T'Challa is crap. Why the fuck was T'Challa's entire arc from Civil War ignored for this movie? He essentially had his character completely reset so the plot of this movie can function. In Civil War, we saw a bloodthirsty prince out to avenge his father's death, blinded by his anger to the point of almost killing the wrong person, and finally choosing the way of peace. We saw him grow as a character, and it was fantastic. The calm, composed leader we saw in Infinity War would have been the natural progression after Civil War. Yet somehow we get this fucking pancake, this softy, beat down in the ritual fight, barely earning the right to be king, getting teased by his bodyguards, getting punked by his friend, and finally getting his ass whooped and thrown off a cliff.
T'Challa. Task force will decide who brings in Barnes.
Don't bother Miss Romanoff. I'll kill him myself.
Move, Captain. I won't ask a second time.
I didn't kill your father.
Then why did you run?
Now, because your friend murdered my father, I also wear the mantle of king. So I ask you, as both warrior and king, how long do you think you can keep your friend safe from me?
What the fuck happened to the guy from Civil War? What happened to the respect he demanded and the mystery surrounding his character? And speaking of Civil War, how did he have the suit then if they're making such a big deal about the ceremony to become Black Panther? If he is only now the Black Panther, then why didn't T'Chaka have the powers during the explosion? I'm sure he would have been fine. This makes no sense and it's never explained. T'Challa had massive potential as a character, but he's treated like shit in his own film and turned into a fool. Instead of taking Claw directly to Wakanda, which was his mission, he instead takes him with Bilbo to jail, which is why Killmonger was even able to catch him in the first place. Instead of simply telling his friend that they captured Claw but he was taken away from them from Killmonger, he turns into a silent little shit, which is the only reason Killmonger got credit for it. And instead of denying the demands of an intruder, he decides to risk his family and all of his people in a trial by combat. Who the fuck is this clown? What did you do to this character? How did you manage to make him the lamest part of this movie? Cap is dead. Tony is dead. T'Challa was one of the only leaders you had left, and you made him boring and soft. Now, I would never argue this ruined the movie, but it wastes the opportunity to develop him further and definitely damages the character. Number 2, the world building. What the fuck were they thinking? Seriously, Wakanda is supposed to be the most advanced civilization in the world, a futuristic society that has an entire mountain of vibranium, arguably the most convenient material that's ever been in a movie. The opportunity for world building they had in this movie was incredible. All the lore and the history of the society they could have delved into, but instead of creating an advanced society more impressive than anything we've seen in the MCU, they decided to focus almost entirely on the tribute to African culture, rather than logical writing. And it's frustrating because you could have easily done both. Why is the most advanced culture in the world using spears and farming rhinos and building straw huts? Why is there places in Africa now that looks better than Wakanda? Why does it feel like they just crammed 2 societies together regardless if it makes any sense? They have ships that can cloak. They have cloaks that can turn into shields. They have magic balls that can heal bullet wounds. How the fuck does it make any sense that most of Wakanda is seemingly living in poverty while one family hoards all the technology and wealth? The movie makes such a big deal about how important it is for the Wakandans to share their technology with the outside world, but it doesn't take a second to answer why the fuck T'Challa has his people farming rhinos and living in these conditions when they literally have a regrowable plant that can make you a superhero and an endless supply of vibranium. And again, I'm not talking about giving everyone in the city Black Panther suits. I'm just talking about healthcare, improving quality of life, basic things that any leader would have done, so people don't die pointlessly. You think T'Challa would have learned this after watching his father die in Civil War, but like I stated, that entire arc is being ignored for this movie. What the fuck is going on in the city? We get a fantastic scene where T'Challa goes to meet his little sister, and you get a glimpse of how advanced the inner workings of Wakanda is.
My king,
Stop it. Stop it.
I have great things to show you, brother. Here are your communication devices for Korea. Unlimited range, also equipped with audio surveillance system. Exhibit A,
My design.
old tech,
Old.
functional but old. Ooh! The entire suit sits within the teeth of the necklace.
World building is a huge part of creating a successful franchise. It makes getting invested so much easier when we know what the fuck is going on, when we have a clear understanding of the scale and the stakes. But thanks to Black Panther's shitty writing, now the stakes of the MCU is now ruined. T'Challa has the resources to essentially make the Avengers unstoppable. Just hand out flowers and vibranium to everyone and the Earth is saved from any possible threat. But this movie didn't give two shits. We basically learned nothing else about Wakanda of interest. And the only arguments I ever hear in defense of this is tradition, which is completely irrelevant to my actual point. You need to understand what I'm trying to say here. When Iron Man leaves the luxury of his mansion, you bet your ass he's rolling out in a sports car. He's not getting in a horse and carriage. He's not driving a rusty Civic. He's not taking the bus, because that would make no sense based on his established wealth. So why does it make any sense for T'Challa, who has more money, more resources, and more people directly under his protection, yet he doesn't share his magic plant or his futuristic technology with them? I'm sure there must be a logical reason for this in the comics, but we're not talking about them. We're discussing this movie and how it didn't bother to go into detail about anything important. Now these two issues severely damage the film. It lowers its quality significantly. But the one issue that really, truly fucks up this film, the one thing that is undeniably awful, is this fucking guy, Eric Killmonger. One of the worst written villains I've ever seen that somehow stole the hearts of millions of fans, even though nothing about him or the things that he does make any sense or have any real consistency to them. I'm absolutely convinced that they wrote this character in the bathroom stall on a napkin. They wasted Michael B. Jordan's performance and severely damaged this movie. I know many people really liked him, but allow me to summarize how Killmonger ruins everything. They introduce his character in a museum looking at some artifacts. It's a fantastic intro. He comes off well-spoken and intelligent as he asks the lady for more information on the items. The conversation quickly turns ugly as he corrects her, saying an item they were discussing is actually from Wakanda, and he'll take it off her hands. As she attempts to call security, they reveal her coffee has been poisoned. I actually have no idea why this woman needed to die, but it establishes his position and motivation very clearly. We see a girl head out on her lunch break during the commotion, hinting at her involvement. And then we are introduced to Killmonger's partner, Claw, played by the legendary Andy Serkis, who is disguised as a paramedic. He kills all the guards and they show the girl from earlier using a device to bypass the camera so they can easily make their escape. I absolutely loved the scene and it set up our main villains perfectly. It had me hyped for the rest of the movie. Unfortunately, Killmonger vanishes. He is out of the fucking movie for almost a full 40 minutes after this. I have no idea who made this decision or why, but the film literally moves on without him. We see T'Challa become Black Panther, experience his first days as king, go out on a mission to find Claw, who's been wanted in Wakanda for years, which leads to a huge fight and a car chase ending with Claw eventually being captured and interrogated. 40 minutes, people. I literally forgot Killmonger was in the movie. And once again, with the help of his apparent girlfriend, he breaks out Claw and they make their escape. Which leads us to the scene that fucks up the whole movie. I'm talking about one of the stupidest scenes in the entire MCU. We see Claw and the rest of the crew getting onto a plane. Claw says he's gonna lay low for a while, but don't worry, you'll get the money. Killmonger says he's not worried about the money, he trusts him. On the way back, drop him in Wakanda. Everything seems normal, just two killers having a chat, nothing to see here. And then Claw says,
You don't want to go there, boy?
Yeah, I do.
Drop it!
I'm sorry. Sorry, Eric.
Gonna be okay. You really want to go to Wakanda? Be an outsider? You're crazy to think that you could walk in there. To think I saw you as some crazy American.
fuck is this? Why did he kill the pilot who had nothing to do with this? Why did he shoot his fucking girlfriend in the chest? Why the fuck did he kill Claw now? If he needed him dead, why the fuck didn't he do it years ago? Or in the first scene we saw them together? Why now? What is this? Claw easily could have been killed during the chase scene, and that would have ruined Killmonger's plans. And to add to this stupidity, he fucking shows the lip tattoo, which combined with his name should be more than enough to get into Wakanda. So again, why does he need Claw? Why does Disney hate Andy Serkis? What the fuck is going on? Once again, I have to repeat this. Why did he kill his girlfriend? This is crazy. Killmonger kills the most entertaining character and he hijacks the movie. And the only logical explanation for all this bloodshed would be to show that this character is beyond redemption, a madman willing to do whatever it takes to achieve his goals. Even killing loved ones, there will be no sympathy for this man, right? In the very next scene, we get the conclusion of the opening flashback that explains T'Challa's uncle worked with Claw to steal vibranium and betrayed Wakanda. A young Forrest Whitaker was sent there to spy on him. T'Chaka demanded that he return to Wakanda to answer for his crimes, and he pulls out a gun and tries to kill Forrest Whitaker. T'Chaka blocks the bullet and stabs him in the heart. He stabs his own brother and leaves his corpse on the apartment floor for his nephew to find, who just happens to be Eric. And they went home never telling a soul.
We had to maintain the lie.
What lie? What the fuck are you talking about? Don't play games with me, Forrest. T'Chaka was the goddamn king. Don't try to tell me he was walking on eggshells in his own city. You're telling me that the king couldn't report this treason to the rest of Wakanda and had to lie? You're telling me that this fucking guy right here left his nephew behind to be an orphan? Is T'Chaka secretly evil? Is there any reason for this insane decision? Anything at all? Or did you just want to make a villain by any means possible? This is ridiculous. The film tries so hard to make Killmonger out as this sympathetic victim, but his origin fundamentally doesn't make any sense. This entire situation would have been avoided had they just taken the boy back to Wakanda, which based on everything that we know about Wakanda and T'Chaka is what they would have done. But they make T'Chaka do the stupidest decision ever just to push the plot. Lazy fucking writing. The film falls off a cliff from here. In what feels like 5 minutes, Killmonger drops off Claw in Wakanda to the guy from Get Out. I have no idea how Killmonger even knew that this guy specifically wanted Claw, and they don't bother to explain, of course. He barges his way into the throne room, starts talking shit to T'Challa, and demands a trial by combat. And remember, T'Challa is stupid in this movie, so he accepts. Killmonger beats his ass and takes over Wakanda. And all this shit happens in the blink of an eye, and I'm still over here like, why the fuck did you kill Claw, bro? What the hell is wrong with you? We see Killmonger get buried in sand and speak to his father in what I'd say is one of the best scenes in the entire movie. And it's more than likely a big part of the reason people love Killmonger's character. But it just doesn't make any sense, at least in the realm of believable villain motivations. Let's take Joker for example.
With respect, Master Wayne, perhaps this is a man you don't fully understand either. Some men aren't looking for anything logical, like money. They can't be bought, bullied, reasoned, or negotiated with. Some men just want to watch the world burn.
He has a deep-rooted philosophy when it comes to chaos, and he stays consistent with it throughout the film. They don't waste our time trying to make us feel sorry for him, because that's not the Joker. Now what about Thanos?
I know what it's like to lose. Feel so desperately that you're right. Yet to fail, nonetheless. Titan was like most planets. Too many mouths, not enough to go around. And when we faced extinction, I offered a solution.
Genocide.
But random, dispassionate, fair to rich and poor alike. And they called me a madman. And what I predicted came to pass.
Congratulations, you're a prophet
I'm a survivor.
who wants to murder trillions.
With all 6 stones, I could simply snap my fingers. They would all cease to exist. I call that mercy.
And then what?
I finally rest and watch the sunrise on a grateful universe. The hardest choices require the strongest wills. Stoic.
You know me?
I do. You're not the only one cursed with knowledge.
Now, do I think wiping out half the population is a great idea? Fuck no. But it doesn't matter what I think. Does Thanos think this is the only route to take? Does he convince me that this is the only way? Yes, because he is a well-written, convincing character, and from his perspective, I totally understand this plan. Killmonger's dad died, so now he wants to take over the world with Wakanda technology and rule it the right way.
Arm oppressed people all over the world so they can finally rise up and kill those in power and their children and anyone else who takes their side.
You serious?
No. This is stupid. I'm not buying this bullshit origin, therefore I can't get behind his cause. I see an angry child that has no idea what he's doing. I see a good actor that was handed a shitty script. We even see T'Challa speak directly to his father and ask, "Why did you leave the boy?" And T'Chaka repeats the same fucking nonsense that Forrest Whitaker said earlier. What a waste of time. This was the one chance to tie it all together. They could have set up a backstory where he was actually a terrible person and became a good king. He could have ranted to T'Challa about Killmonger being a mixed breed and wanted to protect the sanctity of Wakanda, which could have given us a chance to explore T'Challa's character even more by having them disagree on this topic. Instead, they do nothing. T'Challa carries the guilt of something he didn't even do and makes no sense to have even happened in the first place. And they use this as the thing that drives his character to make a change towards the ends of the movie. This is what I mean when I say this movie is lazy. Everything that happens in this movie stems from a scene that makes no sense at all. They chose to make T'Challa a passenger in his own film, just reacting to the plot, and the only decisions that he actually made on his own were stupid ones. They killed Claw pointlessly. There is no reason he had to die, and could have added a lot to this film. They even mentioned in the flashback that Claw worked with Killmonger's dad all the way back then. So Claw was potentially even like an uncle to Killmonger. They could have been close. He probably knew him for years. It makes no fucking sense. Wakanda is nonsense. Instead of a futuristic society and a villain who had potential for so much more, all of it was wasted. Are you really trying to tell me that you're excited to see T'Challa clean up the projects, when we could have had an epic war between two cousins fighting for the right to rule Wakanda? There's enough potential here for a trilogy of movies. Instead, we got a mediocre, overhyped movie capped off with a CGI disaster and a lack of understanding of anatomy. How the hell am I supposed to feel anything during this scene when there's been a knife in his heart for the last 5 minutes? Do you know how hearts work? You spent the movie trying to make me feel sorry for this guy, and now you're gonna botch the only scene that might have made me care? Good job, movie. Like I said, music, visuals, charm, and the most catchy superhero phrase I've ever heard in my life. That's it. Now, do I think it's a terrible movie? No. But it's one of the most frustrating movies I've ever seen in my life because it had the resources to be something great. The writing issues are something that I genuinely think could have been fixed in a few conversations. A weekend of redrafting and refining. They just couldn't take the time because writing is no longer the priority in Hollywood, even though it's the fundamental core of storytelling. When you choose to focus just on the superficial aspects of a film, and you rush the writing, you end up with movies like Black Panther that are great on first watch, but they begin to fall apart as soon as you put any thought into them. They will age like milk instead of wine. The hype will wear off and the script will eventually be revealed for what it is. A sloppy, rushed, missed opportunity that somehow still broke records.
Once in a generation, a film comes along and changes everything.
It is your time.
Black Panther is that film.
No, it's fucking not, you lying sack of shit. Try again next time. And if you wanted me to talk about the cultural impact of this movie, I have some bad news for you.
I don't care.